So after 3, we're both going to clap our hands, so I know how to sync this audio in post. Ready?
One clap or
okay?
multiple?
We'll just do one clap, like that sort of thing. After 3,
Okay.
1, 2.
Are we recording, by the way?
I'm recording now.
Is this in the podcast?
It will be, maybe. We'll see.
Oh, sorry, I didn't realise we started. Sorry.
It's alright. 1, 2, 3. You're too late.
I did it on 3, mate.
You did it. 1, 2, 3, clap. Ready?
Are we clapping on 4 then, effectively?
Yes. 1, 2, 3, clap. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
What?
Why are you so slow?
It sounded perfectly in sync.
It really didn't. Anyway, I'll find it in post.
Well, I mean, but you're hearing me out of sync, but that's why we're clapping, because we know the audio will be out of sync, and you'll use the clap to sync it, right?
Yeah, providing you're not clapping out of sync just to be obtuse.
Am I supposed to be recording my audio, by the way?
No, you're not recording your audio. I'm recording your audio. I've got your audio and my audio recording.
This is complicated, isn't it? Podcast,
mate,
man.
delicious.
Really
absolutely, the technical wizardry that's involved.
Right.
Anyway, so this is the pilot podcast of Keeping on Track, and I'm Bradley Williams, I suppose you want a surname, and you are?
I'm Adam Heath.
Adam Heath. So I'm wondering whether we should have like a theme tune. Like, do you think I should put one in or not bother? Like every week I'll just do like an introduction and then we'll have a cold open.
I see. I'm the sort of person that I can't make that decision until I'm editing it.
Yeah.
Then I have to sort of play with music. I think Just Us might be a bit dull. We need some music, but
like we could sing. You know, like when we sung the Home and Away theme song.
Yeah.
We could do something like that.
Yeah, but that was organic. I like it when it's organic.
Like just
when
an
it's
organic
planned.
burst into song type thing.
Well, I mean, if you burst into song, I'll join you.
I think what we'll do at some point, we might just find a song and burst into it, and then if we like it, then that will be the theme tune. But I can't.
I'm going to flag it early. I don't know. Just sorry to interrupt, but
Go on.
When we were sort of 17, 18 years old, do you remember being told by our lecturers at college we were a bit self-indulgent? I'm just wondering if the same might be said of this podcast.
It probably will be, but then if someone's going to listen to it, then that self-indulgence is maybe slightly warranted. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
okay. Right. Well, you feel free to sing a song at any time, and I'll join you.
I guess it's like if a tree falls in the forest, and someone hears it, then is that tree's not indulgent anymore, right? That tree's enjoying itself falling over, and someone's just happening to hear it. So I want people to enjoy the sounds of us falling over.
I think it's already happened, to be honest. Shortest lived podcast in history. No, we'll make it work.
Done. Anyway, I suppose we should tell people what they're listening to, right? So this is a podcast that is designed to broach, I guess, semi-serious topics or serious topics. Obviously, On Track's a learning and development company, so we'll find a way each time to tie it back into something related to that. But hopefully, in the meantime, you and I just chatting rubbish will be enough. And for those that don't know, I'm the production manager, the digital production manager for On Track. And Adam's my colleague, one of the creatives that works here as well. And so we are predominantly coming at this from the angle of film, animation, podcasts, music, literature, whatever we feel like, really. I guess whatever makes us sound the most educated. But if you don't like it, you don't have to listen. But if you do like it, hopefully you'll have some fun along the way. Does that sound like a fair summation, Adam?
That's the most you told me about what you're doing so far, so yeah.
Dragged you into it.
Just got told, can you answer this call? I'm
going to call you in 10 minutes, just answer, and we'll go.
That sounds good. I mean, it almost sounds like you've got a plan, but I know you better than that. No, you definitely haven't got a plan.
I got notes. I got some notes, but yeah, I can't imagine that there's going to be tons of structure, but we'll see how we get on, right? So today I thought we'd hit hard with this whole COVID-19 stuff and maybe look at the potential future of businesses post pandemic, or what comes? Is it epidemic and then pandemic, or is it pandemic and then epidemic?
I think you're right. Yeah, I was sort of loosely following because in the early stages of this, there was a lot of commentary online about when will it become a pandemic, and so I was interested in the terminology a few weeks ago, and now I'm more focused on can I get toilet roll and bread, and those are kind of my primary concerns. Actually, I'm not that concerned about toilet roll. I've just admitted to a problem I don't actually have, to be honest. But yeah, no, pandemic, epidemic. I mean, it's all pretty serious stuff. So
yeah, but I guess in the meantime, we have to plan for the future, and I think part of that is looking at how businesses will adapt going forward, because I think it's inevitable that the businesses are going to have to adapt. And I'm not one to know tons and tons about that sort of subject. So what I thought I would do is frame it in my favourite thing of all time, which would be to talk about it through the medium of a film, and to use the movie Contagion as our kind of touchstone for what that might look like, what those changes are. And the film itself has been heralded, and the reason why we're using Contagion, first of all, is because it has been heralded as a reasonably scientifically and anthropologically sound, is that a word? Anthropologically?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Sound study of a film, and obviously the connotations, the similarities between the virus in that film and COVID-19, they're manifest. So I think that would be a good film to talk about. Now, I asked Adam earlier in the week to watch the film. Adam, did you watch the film?
I didn't know I had to. I mean, you mentioned it. I didn't know I had to watch it. You said we'll talk about Contagion, and I figured I didn't. Do I need to watch it? Is that important for?
Well, it'll make an interesting conversation. But for those of you, Adam doesn't really watch a film.
I mean, should we admit that we don't watch? Well, I don't watch movies on this podcast.
I think we probably should. I think it's going to become evident very quickly that for some.
But I like to think that gives me a different perspective. Because if you've all seen those films and I haven't, I have a different.
Or a lack thereof. So Adam's actually seen the special features of the Lord of the Rings trilogy 1,000 times, but has probably only seen the film once, maybe twice.
See, I know you giggle and laugh about it, but I think there's some rationale behind it. I am far more interested in how films are made than the films themselves.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen the movie nor the special features of Contagion just yet. Is it Steven Soderbergh or who made it?
Yeah, Steven Soderbergh. Yeah, Steven Soderbergh. Yeah. Spoiler alert: we will be talking about the film, and there will be significant spoilers. So if you haven't seen the film, pause this, go and watch it. I'm sure it's on Netflix, iTunes, and whatever other outlet is trying to capitalise on the current situation. But go watch the film. I
mean, I've seen podcasts do this, FYI, where they say, pause this, go and check out such and such article.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've heard anyone say pause this and go and watch a 2-hour movie and come back.
There you go, see.
That might be stretching it to some people are going to do that.
We're a first. Go and watch that 2-hour film. And then come back. So you can make a whole afternoon. It's not like you've got anywhere to go, so let's make an afternoon out of it, right? So the film itself is about a virus that starts or originates in China, specifically Hong Kong, and there are, I think, 5 initial carriers. One is a model from London. You have a businesswoman from Chicago, or I can't remember where she's from. She stops off at Chicago, on her way home to have an affair. And then you have a couple of other people that live in various provinces in China. And the movie just kind of goes from there, and the outbreak kind of gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and after a short period of months, it's killed something like 20 million people globally, and it's an ensemble piece. which kind of focuses on different characters. So you have Matt Damon's character, Lawrence Fishburne with Jude Law, who plays this kind of seedy, hideous, like kind of, I don't know what you call him. He's a bit like is it Alex Jones? You know, the guy that kind of does all those weird podcasts like about aliens and conspiracy theories. And Marianne Coulthard, she's a scientist that ends up getting caught up in China, and there's a few different characters in it. Kate Winslet's in it as well. But basically, the movie kind of follows these different people and how this virus outbreak affects them, and what they do and how they go about it. And it's a little bit like a detective story, because I think they're kind of trying to figure out where it comes from and how to cure it naturally. And then obviously there's an element of it that's like a thriller, because there's this virus is this unseen thing, and there's even a scene near the end of the movie where you kind of follow the origin of this this virus as it goes from bat to pig to restaurant to chef to Gwyneth Paltrow and etc. So the whole thing is this kind of, this detective element, this thriller element to it. But in terms of some of the things that I noticed in it that I felt were quite interesting, there were some things that I tried to tie back to business and business ethics and what I think will affect businesses going forward. Okay. So first of all, soap. Wash your damn hands, right? That's the overall message of the movie, is washing your hands. And so I wonder whether...
Is that your interpretation?
No, seriously, like the chef's like stuffing a pig's mouth at the end of the movie, and then he goes and he wipes his hands on his aprons, and then he goes and shakes Gwyneth Paltrow's hands, and it's kind of like if the chef had just washed his hands. Then the whole thing. So I'm wondering whether, social etiquettes will change in the future, because we're a handshaking nation, right? That's what we do. People shake hands, and it's almost seen as rude sometimes. Obviously, certain societies and certain cultures are less shaky than others, but it's a big thing, right? Could you imagine meeting someone for the first time and not shaking their hand?
I think I can imagine it now. I mean, like you said, the world is going to be changed after this. There's little kind of doubt about that. I don't know. This is an odd comparison. I feel we're on difficult ground with this subject at the minute.
Go on.
Just because it's we're living through it. It's just a strange thing to talk about and make too many judgments about. But I not to directly compare, but I was having a conversation recently and talking about 9/11,
right?
And talking about, for me, you can look back and see that the way the world changed that day, and we're still marked by it. There are things that have changed in the way we conduct ourselves, where we travel, flights, security controls, and I feel like this is similar to me. There'll be the consequence of this. You'll be able to look back in 20 years' time and see that was the point it changed. Whether that is, like you said, an increased awareness of personal hygiene and washing hands, whether there's an adaptation in that kind of close contact we have. It feels inevitable.
Technical faults.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we're recording now. So
we're going to tell everyone about our technical faults, or we're going to pretend it didn't happen?
Now let's say we did have a technical fault, and we've resolved that. When I edit it together, I'll try and make something of the conversation, but there may be a strange lapse in the logic of your argument.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm going to have to try and pick up something I was saying 45 minutes ago now, and try and make it sound seamless. No problem.
What was your statement? You said the one thing that will persist post-coronavirus is technical problems. So
convinced, yeah, absolutely. That's not going away.
You were comparing it a little bit to 9/11 and said that the world changed.
Only in so much as I was having a conversation with someone about, for me, 9/11 sticks in the memory. It's an event we lived through when we were young. We kind of saw it, and we felt the impact. And years later, you can still look back and see how the world changed from that point, and the changes are still with us. And this feels a little bit similar. Like, I feel in 20 years' time, you'll look back and spot that this was the point when certain social conventions changed. I think that seems to me to be inevitable. And we'll reassess a lot of things we do. Like you said, some of the cultural things of handshakes and that close proximity interaction, the kind of hand washing. I'm pretty sure most of us have probably realised how much more care we need to take with washing our hands. We probably realised we didn't do it enough, and it's become obvious through this kind of this episode.
Yeah. So do you think that that's going to have an impact on business etiquette and the way we treat clients and colleagues?
I don't know about physically. I mean, maybe. Who are we to say? I think what is immediately obvious is, here's the thing I'm seeing in business. I think there are companies that have already for years embraced certain progressive philosophies to their work. So I'm talking about working from home, for example. There are companies that are years into that, 4 or 5 years down the line. There are companies just discovering the value of that now, and it's revolutionary, and they can't believe, this is incredible. We can do it. We can work remotely. We can trust our staff. We can increase productivity. Actually, there's a lot of studies that suggest you can increase productivity by letting people work from home. And I feel like this has it's forced a mass social experiment, hasn't it? How many organisations could actually do what they do, but also trust people to work from home, trust people to work with a better kind of balance, home and work life, intermingled. So I'm convinced there'll be way more remote working, there'll be way more video conferencing, there'll be way more of this kind of digital connected interaction than there was before. And that's going to mean rewriting some of the rule books, I guess, some of the kind of conventions of how the businesses operate. For us, that's probably going to mean making lots of videos about how you can work remotely, how do you stay in touch, how do you interact, how do you do your work, what changes, what are the systematic kind of impacts. I don't know about you, but that seems really evident. We've been, as filmmakers, I guess, and I'm thinking about some of the tools we're using, we've been collaborating remotely for years. It's what we do. You shoot something in one country, send it off over the internet to be reviewed somewhere else, and then edited somewhere else again. The rest of the world's just suddenly crashed into, by necessity, needing to use technology to kind of exist and cope and keep working. So yeah, I do think there'll be a long-term impact on business.
Because one of the other things in the film is the Gwyneth Paltrow's character sort of dies very early into the film from this virus, and Kate Winslet is employed by the CDC to kind of see who she's come into contact with, who's potentially at risk of getting this virus, and so on and so forth. And there's a bit when she goes to her office, to Gwyneth Paltrow's office, and there's this sort of nervous exchange where the colleagues are kind of talking about these interactions that they've maybe had with her.
Hello, I'm Dr. Mears. I'm an epidemic intelligence service officer, and I'm here from Atlanta to find out what happened to Beth Emhoff. Okay, I'm gonna ask you some questions.
There was a package she messengered from Hong Kong. I opened it with scissors. I'm not sure if
it shouldn't be an issue. Virus can't live for days on a box.
We did Pilates together. I called her after she got back. I never heard from her.
So you had no contact with her?
No.
Did she go to the class?
I didn't see her there.
We had coffee the day she left. I think she might have moved my cup because it was on some papers. I can't remember.
How many days ago?
About 10 days.
That's okay. The incubation period is less than that. Is there anyone else who might have had contact with her?
This was everyone.
Aaron Barnes did.
Barnes, he worked on another floor.
There were documents she needed to sign. He picked her up from the airport.
He picked her up from the airport?
Yes.
For a period at least, do you think we're going to start to see, with the movements towards working from home and things, I mean, do you reckon that there will be more of an argument to be made for almost like self-imposed isolation of, if you've been on a business trip, if you've been overseas, you work from home for a week when you get back and things like that?
Oh yeah, companies will naturally adopt that policy, won't they? Let's be a little bit wary, a bit safe. If we've sent someone to travel somewhere, come back, work from home for a period, that seems an obvious kind of, I mean, like that was kind of the reference I was making to 9/11. I don't see these being consequences that evaporate over the year or two to come, I see them as always. It's going to forever change how certain things happen and how business is conducted, for sure.
Let's move on to the fake news thing. So Jude Law, apart from sporting an Austin Powers-esque set of dentures in the movie, he plays this dodgy guy who's spreading fake news and stuff, and starts talking about this drug called Forsythia. This character has a meeting with a hedge fund manager, and the guy's basically saying, look, you're ahead of the curve, you know what's happening, tell me which drugs are going to sell, which drugs are the ones. And he starts saying, Forsythia, and essentially kind of creates this deal with this hedge fund manager that ultimately they're going to create a need by pressing this Forsythia drug and making it seem as if it's something special, and in return that's going to press stocks up. And there's a bit when Lawrence Fishburne is kind of having an argument with Jude Law on the telly.
There are people who are sick, people who are dying, and
they're not keeping us safe from this any more than they kept us safe
about the
from Wall
health of
Street
Americans.
or Katrina. Dr. Cheever is being a bit disingenuous when he says every American citizen.
We're working very hard to find out where this virus came from, to treat it and to vaccinate against it if we can. We don't know all of that yet. We just don't know. What we do know is that in order to become sick, you have to first come in contact with a sick person or something that they touched. In order to get scared, all you have to do is come in contact with a rumor or the television or the internet. I think what Mr. Crumwoody is spreading is far more dangerous than the disease.
And we're seeing a lot of that at the minute, right? I mean, you hinted at it earlier on with the dolphins in the Venetian canals, like total pure fiction, right? And the National Geographic did this article recently where they debunked that and said that it's not true. There are some wonderful natural things going on, some improvements, but dolphins in the canals of Venice is total baloney. And people were angry with them for this, saying, why can't we? Why don't you just let us have that nugget of wisdom, that nugget of ignorance? And it's like telling a kid who's sitting on Santa's lap that Santa's not real. And it's a kind of an interesting idea, but I think we all want the truth, and there's a lot that's spewed around, and I'm wondering whether channels of communications for businesses. I'm seeing it a lot at the minute where people are panicking. They're trying to wade through a lot of misinformation. I mean, even around this furloughing and things like that, is businesses are desperately trying to get information out to people, but misinformation spreads so much quicker than the truth. And so I'm wondering whether that's going to maybe have some sort of impact in transparency and how businesses communicate with their staff outside of crises such as these, but just in general communications. Because do you think there's going to be, do you think this is something people are going to take on board? People are going to worry about the way they communicate with their staff, or do you think people are going to be more mistrusting or more trusting of their senior leaders in the future? Or I mean, am I just talking rubbish? I don't know. What do you think?
I think, bizarrely, now is the time when leaders can and probably will be judged a little more critically than they've been before. I think the way you behave now will redefine your relationships. We all know of brands that we feel have taken advantage of the situation, and that's going to do irreparable damage to those brands.
Yeah.
We know probably of people whose organisations have treated them well and with respect and honesty, and again reflects very well on them. I'm going to be a little bit of a fanboy at the minute, an Apple fanboy. Why would you be a fanboy of Apple, Adam?
I might have worked for Apple I don't know if I told you that before. I spent it's probably the best 6 years of my career working at Apple. Yeah. And I think one of the things that I've taken from those years that I just hold them in such high regard and respect for is a willingness to say we don't know. And that's the first thing you learn. I started in an Apple store and then progressed into their kind of European head office organisation. And one of the first things I learned, probably day one in the store, was it's okay to say you don't know, and that's very different. Any other organisation I'd ever worked for, you'd go a long way before someone would admit they didn't know something. And Apple's perspective is there's nothing wrong with saying you don't know. Your best bet is to be honest with a customer and say, I don't know, but hey, let's figure it out together. We can find the answer to this question together, and we will go learn something. And I think the organisations that are honest with their people get a lot more credibility for that. I have no issue with an organisation saying, hey guys, this is a scary, different, unprecedented time. We do not have the answers, but we're gonna find answers together with you. And as we get information that's right and valid, we'll share it. And I think there's so much power in that for organisations. Like I said, they can reform their relationships with people over this kind of crisis. I think most of us respond better when a CEO puts out, a video piece to camera or a note that is clearly written by them. It's not been written by a press person. It's been written by them from the heart, very honest, very simple. And that's what we respond to. Whenever we make videos, so many times folks are surprised how powerful the unscripted kind of documentary pieces that we make, how successful they are. They get surprised by that. And yet that's what people respond to. People will tell something's been scripted and choreographed. Just honest human communication is way more powerful.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, and it is hard because it's not as clear cut, and we both know that. Obviously, that isn't ideal, but I think it's the right ideology to chase because with it goes both ways. I mean, there's a scene in the film where there's two scenes. So Marianne Coulthard's character is kidnapped when she goes out to Hong Kong because the guy that's her liaison he comes from a small village in this province, and everyone in the village is being ignored in this crisis. So he kidnaps her under the assumption that they will have to give him some sort of cure for this virus because he has this important government official with him. And similarly, Lawrence Fishburne's house gets burgled, and these two burglars kind of are threatening his girlfriend and say, where is it, and where's the antidote? And she's like, I don't have it. And he's like, of course you have it. He's the head of the CDC, or a senior role in the CDC, of course he has it. And I think that perception of privilege is something that it's a prejudice that we all hold, right? We all assume that, because that person's the CEO, or that person's got X amount of money, or that person's worth this amount, they're untouchable, they're not going to be affected by this. And so I'm thinking that perception you're talking about, that idea of transparency and honesty, I think will erode a lot of that perception of privilege going forward. And if not, we've always got McDonald's Twitter feed, which is always an interesting avenue of truth. Other burger vendors are available, but
I should just say that's Brad Williams, not mine.
Yeah, Ronald, in case you're listening, Adam loves you, and he's enjoyed your burgers and chicken nuggets for many years
in many countries. I've actually been working on my accounts. I'm serious. My finances spreadsheet for the last 12 months because I've got nothing else to do at the minute. And I couldn't believe the number of countries I've eaten McDonald's in.
Honestly,
shocking.
I think my favourite story of McDonald's is Indonesia, where we were offered all this delicious, authentic, traditional Indonesian food, and you still insisted on shipping out for a flipping Big Mac. It's unreal, absolutely unreal.
There is photographic evidence on Instagram of you enjoying that burger more than I did, actually, so you can talk.
Anyway, so getting back to McDonald's, their Twitter feed is amazing. Like, their marketing team are just spot on, and they present their brand as something very real and just very human. And there was a tweet the other day where they'd said, when we come back, what song shall we come back with? And someone said Return of the Mac, and then someone else said my milkshake brings all the boys to the stores. And then McDonald's responded, and they're like, it's better than yours. And then the person responded, damn right, it's better than yours. And then someone else put in, I could teach you, but I'm unable to because the milkshake machine doesn't work. And then and then McDonald's had put oomph or burn or something like that. I can't remember of it. But I was like, this is a huge brand and they're literally getting into this exchange. But it's this ridiculousness of it.
This is what I hope for, like for brands, for commercial operations. There are companies that have been doing this human touch for years and killing it. McDonald's, Apple, Innocent are renowned for it. There are organisations that are just running away with it. Their kind of tone of voice, the way they talk and interact with their communities, the way they presumably talk to their staff. And in fact, I've been on the inside. I've seen how a lot of those brands talk to their staff. None of this is surprising. Like I said earlier, a lot of brands are probably surprised how well they can work remotely and how productive their staff are.
Yeah.
And it's a shame it's taken this to kind of recognise that. But now that we're there, I think there's an opportunity to embrace it. There's a new way of thinking, new way of working, new way of communicating, and it's more honest, human, humble, direct. And do you know what? There's the commercial benefits as well. This is not, it's bizarre actually how you can do something that would seem to be anti-business and actually improves your business.
Yeah. Because let's not forget, right? We're talking about Contagion here. And,
Contagion, yeah.
Elliot Gould, you know Elliot Gould, right? Yeah. He plays a scientist. I can't remember I think they call it a level 7, a level 5, or NC5 or something like that. When they realised that there's a lot more to it and it's quite scary and there's potential for panic worldwide. There's this conversation between Lawrence Fishburne and Jennifer Ehel, I can't pronounce her surname, or Ehle, however you pronounce that. And he basically says to her, look, just tell him to burn his samples. We're going to keep this at an NC7 rating or an N7 rating, whatever it is. And so she phones him up and she says, burn the samples. And he's like, yeah, but I can help you. I can work with you on this. She says, like, look, it's above your pay grade. I'm sorry, you've got to burn your samples. And he's upset about it. And then he decides to ignore that directive. Essentially, there's a reaction that he figures out with certain strains of other viruses, and so it gives them a leap in the investigation, and then it leads to the antidote being created. And I'm calling it antidote. I don't know what you call it. Is it a vaccine? A vaccine, isn't it?
Could be either, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, and so the point is that we profess to live in a world of non-linear information sharing, but I think we all accept that in certain institutions, certain organisations, there's still a case of, okay, well, prove to me why your idea is better, or I'm not interested in that idea because it's come from somebody who doesn't understand the full picture, or things like that. It's odd to me because we come from a collaborative field, right? So we come from a world where any idea could be the best, and it doesn't matter who comes up with that idea as long as it's the best idea. And I'm just thinking that you're talking about the human touch and transparency and all these different things. I wonder whether this is part of that too. This idea of removing a lot of the barriers that are placed, a lot of communication barriers, and a lot of this idea of feeding things up the chain. We have this kind of top to bottom view of things, and whether we're going to see a more lateral approach to that.
Yes.
Simple. Done.
No, I do, and it's what we've been saying throughout, is that this has forced our hands a little bit, and so in some organisations this is actually a mass experiment that's taking place, and we're learning about what's possible. For other organisations, they're running as they always have, and they've adapted instantaneously. But I don't think there can be no consequence. I think there is always going to be a consequence, a long-lasting impression of this. And we are being forced at this time probably to communicate more than we've done before, actually. And this brings into sharp relief, actually, perhaps flaws where we didn't communicate enough, and we've just realised there's so much more we can achieve by working collaboratively.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's just an idealistic kind of view and hope. But that's certainly what I'm kind of seeing every day when I open my inbox, organisations, brands that I relate to and associate with, almost rewriting their messaging in a way I've not seen before. There's a new kind of tone to what they're saying as they've realised the opportunity to communicate more deeply.
Yeah. I think it's because people got more time to listen as well, right? I think that's a big part of it, is the listening and the paying attention, not that sort of, we'll file that in the suggestions box at the bottom of the bin, you know?
I suspect we're going to be busier than ever later this year when this is all past, because people will have dreamt up things they've long wanted to do, to launch, to say, and we'll be making videos and all kinds of products to get those messages out.
We won't get into it too much, but there are a few other things that from the film I felt were quite interesting. There was this whole thing around panic buying and sustainability, and I know that some of our clients are becoming, more ethically
aware, conscious.
Yeah, they're becoming more aware of those things and implementing changes to the way their business is run. But I also think that with that wellness side of things, like it's one thing to say to people, take a break every 40 minutes, we do. I think there's also that sense of trying to teach people, and this is a strange one because there's an option here, a potential here for corporations and businesses, regardless of size, to take more of a step towards helping people understand how to prepare themselves and take care of themselves outside of the work. It's one thing to say to someone, oh, if you need something, call me. But then when that person's up against it, and so Kate Winslet's character, for example, she catches the virus and she dies, and the lead up to this is Lawrence Fishburne just on the phone to her saying, I'm here, I've done this before, it's a real hard slog, bounce ideas off me, talk to me. But that doesn't stop the fact that she's being run into the ground, and eventually that she meets her own demise through that. I definitely think there's opportunity here for businesses to help people understand beyond the 9 to 5. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think about that sort of approach?
I think if you look at the trends for the kinds of projects we've been asked to get involved with over the last couple of years, it's everything that we need. And by need, I mean the things we are now relying on through the forces that we're facing through coronavirus. Everything we've worked on has been about flexible working from home, work-life balance, mental health and well-being, wellness. All these kind of topics that are very topical for lots of organisations and have become even more so, even more topical than we imagined they were 12 months ago or 2 years ago. So there is an added emphasis and focus, I think, now, and there will be going forward, I think. And brands are recognising, and if they haven't, they'll be one of the few stragglers, really, to not recognise the importance of looking after your people. We've learned through this really just how fragile the infrastructure of our businesses is. People are everything.
Yeah,
absolutely. You can have all the systems in the world and all the technology. If you haven't got people to kind of run and act as the substance of the business grinds to a halt. I think any time we've worked on a video that is really about a brand's values, those are the projects that I enjoy the most. Or when we've written manifestos, or we've designed artwork to some piece of content you can hold up at any point and say, this is what we believe. And that's where your DNA of an organisation lives, and that's where what you're saying should come through, that people matter and are central. And I think that's so valuable for a company to have. Where's the video we can, at any point we lose our way, we can watch that, and there in a nutshell is our value we're going to hold ourselves against. But I see value in that. Now's the time for organisations to kind of put a stake in the ground and commit to, here's what's important to us. And actually it needs to be a lot more than we exist to service our customer. That's easy. Anyone can write that. That is not a brand value. A brand value is what you believe is important, and what you do to kind of protect and prove it.
Cool.
It's time for a review score. So, first of all, out of 5, how relevant is Contagion for consumption in today's world?
I just think it's a 5. I think you just watch it.
You got to,
just because you just got to watch a film, right? Just because it's a film that needs to be watched.
Okay, so then can I have a score out of 5 for the film as a piece of filmmaking now?
As a piece of filmmaking, okay.
Brad Williams review.
I'm going to give it 4.
It's quite a high score still.
I think it's well written, it's well acted. I think it's Steven Soderbergh at probably his most palatable. It's not obnoxious, it's not dumb, it's not patronising, it's and in terms of the cinematography, I mean it's all very naturalistic, so there's nothing of note. There's a couple of cool shots and things, but I just think in general it's I liked it when it first came out. I've seen it a few times since, and it seemed like an appropriate time to revisit it.
Yeah, and some ensemble as well. That's a heck of a cast you've been
man.
listing as you were going.
Yeah, you got Matt Damon, Lawrence Fishburne, Jude Law, John Hawkes, Gwyneth Paltrow, Marianne Coulthard. Yeah, there's loads of people in it. It's Kate Winslet, just banging on and on and on. It's crazy. Elliot Gould, even Bryan Cranston pops up in it for a minute, but he's not selling crystal meth. He's trying to save the world. So he's doing the other role.
I don't know what the crystal meth references are because I haven't seen Breaking Bad.
You're such a...
Sorry.
How have you never seen Breaking Bad? Honestly.
It can be said about a lot of things I haven't seen.
I think we should do a podcast on how you've missed some of the most significant TV of the 20th and 21st century.
Sorry, it's on a list somewhere. I'll get to it one day.
We could do a watch party.
When I get my work-life balance a bit sorted out, then I'll watch these things.
What I love most is when like you haven't watched like some significant films, and then you'll tell me like, oh, I went and watched the remake of The Lion King or something like that, and it's like you're saying, you know, I didn't bother to read Moby Dick or Great Expectations or anything like that, but I did read Harry McClary, so I've done that.
And I've somehow fashioned a career making films and videos. So
I know,
it's mad,
unbelievable, isn't it? It's crazy.
Until next time.
Until next time.